Hey there, YouTube and Nick and Mercon and maybe the handful other people that are going to watch this. This is a disassembly video for this guy. This is a G&G Hawk MUDD. I guess there aren't many or any disassembly videos out there, so I wanted to do this for a couple people that were interested. To my knowledge, this guy doesn't come with a pivot tool. And this is not a regular Torx or Phillips or any kind of pivot. So you need a special tool to do it. The tool that I used is this thing that I got from a watch repair toolkit. I got it on Amazon. It was really cheap, maybe less than $10. I'll dig up the Amazon listing for the toolkit that I got, where this came in, and how this is normally used is with watch backs like this that have little notches on the back. So you line up these little pins with the notches. You can adjust this guy, tighten him up, and unscrew the watch back to replace the battery or whatever it is you need to do. Anyway, that's how that works. So let me go through this disassembly, and I want to show you guys how the lock works, how the detent works, and just the insides of this knife. It's pretty interesting, so I just want to do that. I'll try to do it kind of quickly so you don't get bored to death. So let's just get into it. First of all, I'm going to remove the clip just to get it out of the way. It's just 2 T6 screws. Now, I'm not going to any detail about the design of the knife itself, or at least the outside, because my buddy Nick Shabazz did a pretty good rundown of all the features of this knife and its design, intent, and the makers and what they're all about. So if anybody who's watching is interested in a good review on this knife, I'll link to Nick Shabazz's channel and the video review he did for this guy. He's a good guy, and he's a very thorough reviewer if you're not aware of who he is. Okay, so now that I got the clip off, I'll show you how to remove the pivot. So you just take these little pins, line them up to 2 holes. There are 5 holes on the pivot, but whatever, this is good enough. You can tighten the tool like that, and just unscrew it, and that's it. And then the rest you can just do it with your fingers, or you can keep using the tool, whatever you want. Easy peasy. And that's it. I'll set that guy aside over here. Now there are 5 scale screws on either side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 on this side. And let's get them off. Now, what you'll see with this knife is that you might think that this lock functions like an axis lock, like a Benchmade axis lock, but it doesn't. What you'll notice once I take it apart is that the lock, which is on this side, is separate from the detent. Just 2 separate mechanisms, which is pretty interesting. And once I take it apart, you'll see how with this guy removed, the blade doesn't lock open, but there's still a detent, so it'll be held closed. Okay. Okay, so that's 5. So I'll take this off carefully. What you have here is this button is screwed onto a metal slider and a spring that pushes in that direction, and the little slider goes behind a notch on the blade tang to lock it open. You'll see how that works right now. I'm going to take it off. Okay, and there it is. So there's a little slider So this part right here, this goes like that. Just like that. So this guy, if you picture this flipped over, mirrored onto here, I'm not gonna take this off. I could unscrew it. It's just 2 Phillips head screws. You can just use your imagination. Anyway, so other than that, the handles are fairly simple. There's this rubber boot. I'm not sure how it's attached to the carbon fiber scale, but it's just a flat piece on this side. This side has some contouring and some milling and fairly simple, I guess. Anyway, so that's how that guy works. And here's the spring. Let me get that out of the way. Set that over here. So now that you see that the blade doesn't lock, but there's still a detent. And how that works is a similar mechanism to this that's on the other side. And instead of the slider being shaped like this, it's got like a V shape. And the blade tang actually has 2 stop pins, one on either side for each function. One to keep it open, one to keep it closed. So let's just keep going, and I'll show you how that other guy works when I get there. So we just have this other guy right here, this backspacer or a standoff screw. It's a T8. I'll get it off real quick. Okay, this guy comes off. That's what the inside of this guy looks like. So we have caged ball bearings that ride along in there, and then the seal that keeps dirt and mud and water and dust and stuff out of the pivot area is out here, and it's got some grease on it. This is some kind of, I don't know, some kind of elastomer, some kind of rubber silicone boot. Let me show you. Kind of goes into a little groove, and there's grease along there. On either side, there's the other stop pin. So before I uncover the other side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the blade back on, and I'll show you how the detent works by flipping this guy over. If I can I? I think I might have to take off the scale. Anyway, so I'll show you after I do that. So let me get this guy out of the way and undo these 5 body screws or scale screws on the detent side or non-presentation side. Trying to keep this video as short as possible. I tried making this a couple times and the last 2 were pretty long, but I don't want to bore people. Okay. No, I guess he's out. So let me just put this back together real quick. Half back together. Okay, that goes there. What do I do? Okay, put this guy here, like that. here. Put this guy in like that. This is just to show you how the detent works. So, like I said, there's a slider here and a spring that pushes in that direction. And I'll just slide down like this to show you what that looks like, because if I just remove the scale, the spring will pop out. But that's what that slider looks like. Through the pivot hole here, you can see the spring. And I'll show you how, as you turn, as the blade closes, let's see if we can, there's the pin, and it hops on the other side of that V-shaped tip of the slider. So, fairly simple mechanism, but it works. And like Nick mentioned in his video, the detent on this thing, it's a little on the soft side, but that could conceivably be remedied or adjusted if you replace this spring for one of the, you know, same nominal size with a stiffer spring constant, which I'm sure if you go on McMaster car or something like that, you can find it. Anyway, so that's it. This guy just sits in here. It's got a little bit of oil. I've taken this apart a couple times, so it's nice and lubed up. I'm not going to clean it out or relube it. So that guy, that's how that guy goes. So that is basically your disassembled G&G Hawk MUDD. So now I'll just put it back together. Start over here on the detent side. Actually, let's put the spring in first into its little groove. Get this guy in like that. So I'll take a scale and kind of cover up the spring so it doesn't pop out. Slide the slider back in. Line this guy up and put some screws in. Let's start with a random one. Doesn't really matter which one I start with. Oh, damn it. Come on. Stay there. God damn it. It's just stage fright. Never had this much trouble when I'm not filming. Anyway, okay. So that's one. Two. Now, I will say I really like this knife a lot. I think it's just really unique. There's really nothing like it. The zero tolerance 0500, I think that's the number, is kind of the production version of this, but I think it's been long discontinued by ZT, and I think it's bigger than this. This is kind of a smallish knife. You know, it's not super big, but it's not super compact either. Especially in the width, it's pretty wide, so it really fills out the hand. Oh, see, I tightened it, and it's a little bit out of alignment. So let me just loosen the screws a little bit. No, this guy, just a little bit to get that female pivot on there. There. Okay. Now we're good. anyway, like I was saying, I really enjoy it. It's a cool knife. It's got a nice smooth action. I like the fact that it's pretty protected against the elements. I personally, I don't really have much of a use for a knife as tough as this, or as they say it is. I work in an office, but I don't care. I don't care. I like it. And if I like a knife, I'll carry it. And that's that. I mean, if you really, some people will say that if you really want something tough and, you know, resistant to dirt and mud, you gotta use a fixed blade. Some of us don't want to carry a fixed blade or have no use for it. I have no use for a fixed blade. I have a couple fixed blades that I never, ever use. I've got one here on my desk that I bought because just because I like the look of it. It's this ridiculous CRKT Graham Razel machete. I just don't get outdoors that much. I just like this design. But like I said, you know, I just like it. I think it's cool. It's fun to play with. It's tough. It's pretty sharp. And I just like the unique design. And I don't doubt that this guy is as resilient as they claim. Nick put it in a pond and seemed like it was behaving perfectly. The design is actually pretty clever, pretty ingenious. There's nothing that I've seen that has a sealed pivot like this. So I really appreciate the intent, and I like that the Hawks are always innovating with their locks and overall with every aspect of the knife. One thing I don't really like is the clip. It's got this funky clip that I mean, Nick's talked about it. You know, the Chris Reeve tie lock also has it, and I have a tie lock too, and I don't love the clip. I just, whatever. I could do without it. Maybe I'll get an aftermarket clip made for this. But I mean, I don't care for it, but at the same time it doesn't bother me. So I just live with it for now. But it does lend to the overall aesthetic. It is pretty quirky. Anyway, that is the last scale screw. We're almost done. Just a little bit of Loctite, maybe a little too much. Oof. Okay. Looks like food's here, which is perfect timing as I am almost done here. Okay, it's nice and tight. Perfect centering. There's the missus calling me. So perfect centering. So the last step is just the clip. Put it in. Almost done. Come on. Almost done. That's okay. All right. And that's it. All done. There's your disassembly and reassembly of the GNG Hawk MUDD. I hope this was useful for somebody. Hope you enjoyed. Hope I didn't bore you too much. And that's it. Take care.